Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin having the drama that they've had over the last week, I would say at this point, ever since the most recent episode of Actions Detrimental came out, Kyle Busch doesn't seem too happy about it. Just to give you some context, Denny Hamlin on his podcast over the last couple of weeks, last month, I would say maybe even, and it's Denny Hamlin's no different from anybody else that has a podcast, a NASCAR podcast. Like Door Bumper Clear, I've been discussing the same things. A lot of these people like Break Hard, Eric, E-Step, all these people are really kind of talking about the same things over the last month when it comes to Kyle Busch, that he's clearly struggling, whether that's him, the car, or whatnot. He's clearly struggling. He's clearly having a difficult time racing right now, and Denny Hamlin's making comments on that. He even said in the podcast, I cannot hold his helmet for what Kyle Busch can do in a race car compared to Denny. Denny Hamlin thinks that Kyle Busch is a lot better of a driver than he is. So that's why Denny is so conflicted on his podcast, but he has to talk about it, He has to talk about it. He says that Kyle Busch is obviously struggling right now. He's saying that Kyle Busch hasn't gotten the handle on this car. He's saying that Richard Childress Racing is struggling as a whole right now. He does briefly mention that his teammate seems to outperform him from time to time, but I think Austin Dillon's also gotten a better handle on this car than Kyle Busch potentially. Who knows on why we've seen that so far this season. But I think Kyle Busch got really upset. Kyle Busch, I forget who the interview is with. I still haven't watched the interview as a whole, but I have seen some clips. He does have a big interview that came out recently, and I did watch his interview with, I think, Bob Pockrass as well. He seems very upset with Denny Hamlin's comments that he had made, saying, because he pretty much said he'll make him he will be a thorn in his side, is pretty much what he said in that Bob Pockrass interview. He said in the other interview that I was referencing before that I haven't seen in full. I'll admit that I haven't seen this other interview in full, but he was saying things like Denny's been running his mouth over the last month, saying that I'm a washed up driver and this and that. And what I take from all of that, me personally, I think either one of two things is really going on. There's either somebody in Kyle Busch's ear just telling him all the negative things about what Denny is saying, or B, he's just on social media scrolling and he sees a clip from the show, and obviously you're going to take the clip from obviously they're going to clip out parts of the show that are more juicy, that get more attention. And Denny complimenting Kyle Busch is going to get less attention than Denny Hamlin not complimenting Kyle Busch. So Kyle Busch is taking whatever one of those two things it is. Kyle Busch is taking what Denny Hamlin has said about him this season really to heart. He's really taking it to heart. He feels like that Denny Hamlin is just talking a lot of shit about him. And this comes from Kyle Busch fan. Kyle Busch is my favorite driver. He's been my favorite driver for 20 years now. He's been my favorite driver. That's quite crazy to say that he's been my favorite driver for 20 years. But he hasn't listened. Oh, I hit the mic. He's not listening to the podcast. He's showed me with the way he has reacted to what Denny has said that he has not listened to one of Denny Hamlin's podcasts in full. Because if he did, he wouldn't be making the comments that he's making right now, because Denny has been very complimentary of Kyle. He's been very complimentary of the way he is as a racer. He said that he can't hold Kyle Busch's helmet. He thinks that's Kyle Busch is that great of a driver. He's complimenting how much he's learned from Kyle Busch. He even said on last week's episode that Denny Hamlin wouldn't be as good as he is on intermediate tracks without Kyle Busch. So he's been very, very complimentary on Kyle Busch. That's why he's been so torn about the comments, because when you see his podcast and him make these comments about Kyle Busch, he almost cringes talking about it because he doesn't want to talk about it, but he has to talk about it. He has a podcast. Literally, everybody's talking about it. Like, Denny Hamlin isn't the only person talking about it. I feel like the reason that Kyle Busch got so upset about it because he looks at Denny as a friend. And then also in this interview, he said, the interview that I haven't seen in full, he said in that interview that he doesn't have any friends in the Cup Series, doesn't have any NASCAR friends. Sounds a lot like Carson Hocevar. So I feel like he just got really hurt by Denny Hamlin's comments and just didn't listen to the podcast. Either had someone in his ear saying that Denny's talking shit, or he watched a clip or two and was like, damn, Denny's just talking shit about me, and didn't listen to the whole episode. Just listened to a 30-second clip and was like, oh, that's that. Denny Hamlin thinks I'm washed up. And I don't know. I don't really like the way that Kyle's thinking about that right now. Honestly, that should be the last thing he should be concerned about right now. He should be going out there winning races, because that's what we know about Kyle Busch. He should be out there winning races. And right now he's focused on what Denny Hamlin said on his fucking podcast. I'm big thumbs down for me when it comes to this, and I've been very open. Like I said, a huge Kyle Busch fan also. I am a Denny fan as well, but I'm going to have to 100% side with Denny on this one, because right now Kyle Busch is creating drama out of nothing, in my opinion. And I even saw it in the race, because at one point he held up Denny Hamlin. I remember him holding up Denny Hamlin in that last stage. I forget how many laps there was left, but he went out of his way to crowd Denny Hamlin at the bottom of the track and not let him pass very easily. So he was obviously not very happy with what Denny had to say. But Tyler, what are your thoughts on all this? Because I might be too close to the fire on this one, being a Kyle Busch super fan, and also considering myself probably a Denny Hamlin super fan at this point as well. I might be too close to the fire on this one. But how do you feel about all this, with Kyle Busch being upset with what Denny Hamlin said on his podcast?
Man, it's hard with those two boys, because those two boys, I can
Or
say for the
fiery?
last 20 years, I have not been the biggest fan of. So it's hard, right? I mean, you have the last two standing veterans of the sport going head to head about some petty bullshit. And it's sad because both of those boys should be in the top equipment still fighting head to head, and they're just not. Like, Kyle's equipment is just crap right now, and it's not it's unfortunate, but it's just what it is. And we all know that if you were to put Kyle in the 11, he'd be doing just as good as Denny is right now.
I
So
don't think
like
he would, but
it's
continue.
hard. You don't think so?
No,
Damn,
he would
that's
not.
sad. That's sad. In my opinion, I think he would be, but maybe not as good, because Denny is in his prime right now. Denny's got the Brady effect for sure. I mean, he's hitting those prime years at the very end of his career, and it's very rare that you see that. But I don't know. I know for sure that Kyle can at least hold his own when it comes to Denny, right? So this whole thing is being blown out of proportion. Kyle needs to chill out a little bit. I think his frustrations with the car, his frustrations with everybody talking shit, and now it being somebody like you said that he cares about, and he's not really like listening to anything that's coming out. It's more like how dare you even say anything at all? I feel like is where Kyle's at. So it's just I don't know. He's Kyle Busch. He's gonna be mad. He's gonna be hot-headed about it, and he's probably gonna get over it eventually. Like it's just it's who he is. And Denny's not going to shut the fuck up. That's who Denny is. So it's just, it is what it is, and those two boys will have at it until they hang him up.
Yeah. Yeah, they're two fiery individuals. And yeah, like I said before, I do think Kyle Busch was just honestly hurt. I think he was just hurt by what Denny had to say. It's like, damn, like these spotters over on Door Bumper Clear are saying these things about me, but I don't care about their opinion. But you're my competitor. You're my former teammate. You're a friend. Hell, what the hell? Like, I think that was Kyle Busch's reaction. Like, I think he was just hurt. I think he was just really badly hurt that Denny is one of those people calling out what he's, in this case, not doing, and that's winning races and stuff like that. And you did bring up something that I did forget to bring up when you were talking there. I think Kyle Busch did say it, that if he was in the 11 car, he'd be doing well. He'd be doing well too. I do think that Kyle Busch would be doing well. I think he potentially would win a couple races a year, maybe. But other than that, I don't think he's going to be a championship contender in that car, in that Joe Gibbs Racing car right now. I just don't. I don't see it. The main reason why I say that, because before he left Joe Gibbs Racing, it was the beginning of the next gen era, and he wasn't very good. He didn't do very well for Joe Gibbs Racing in that last year. He had a couple of moments here and there. He had a couple of moments in that last year with Joe Gibbs Racing, but overall just didn't really perform. He just hasn't been able to find it in this car yet. And the fact that he is getting outperformed by Austin Dillon as much as he has been this year, like, look at on Sunday, Austin Dillon got like what, 15th or 16th, something like that. He finished on the lead lap. Kyle Busch finished 4 laps down on speed. On speed. Like, that is bad. He didn't have damage. I think he had a couple issues on pit road, but he didn't have like a speeding penalty or anything like that. I think he was just, if I remember correctly, he was just off strategy. He was just a little bit off strategy with some of these other drivers. Like, he had a different pit strategy than a lot of these other drivers and ended up putting him back 4 laps down while his teammates on the lead lap, for Pete's sake. I don't know what to make of all this. I do think that Kyle Busch really struggles with this car. I do think he needs more practice. He's just one of those drivers that needs more practice. He really needs to have. I compare him a lot to Joey Logano, even though those two hate each other. They're so similar. They are so similar with the way they race, because both of them are quite aggressive on the racetrack. But I think the thing that's more glaring for me when it comes to those two drivers in particular, if they don't have the perfect race car, like the race car needs to match up to their driving ability perfect. If it doesn't, you're probably going to be out of luck. At least in the Cup Series. Like other series, that's different. But in the Cup Series, if you, because you see with Logano, if Logano has a perfect car, he's top 5. If he doesn't, he's 30th, 25th, something like that. He's in the back. Penske raced like shit this weekend too. I forgot to mention that earlier. They raced like shit this weekend as well. They were awful. But yeah, Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin are at odds ends right now. They're at each other. Well, I don't even think they're at each other's neck. I think Denny is just there, and Kyle Busch is like, shut your fucking mouth, pretty much. I don't know. I don't agree with the way Kyle Busch reacted. I think Kyle Busch needs to focus on other things and not focus on Denny Hamlin talking on his podcast. And if he is going to focus on Denny Hamlin talking on his podcast, he probably should listen to the whole episode before he opens his mouth. But that's just my opinion as a Kyle Busch superfan. And knowing Kyle Busch, you will only see that little snippet that I just said and would have not heard anything else that I said. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about this rivalry, I guess you could say, between Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin?